Hey guys, it's me Nick, and I wanted to introduce you to 5 minutes or less song reviews. I wanted to try out a new video format coming right at you, right there, coming right at you, bam! So, I wanted to talk about one of my favorite bands of all time, the Arctic Monkeys. Now, you see, the Arctic Monkeys released this little album back in 2013 called AM, and it was one of the most successful rock albums of all time. With songs like Do I Wanna Know topping the charts in both the US and the UK. And so it was gonna be super hard for the Arctic Monkeys to essentially create a follow-up album. And when they finally decided to create that 6th studio album, it was met with a lot of negativity. The Rolling Stones even called it like elevator music. Like that shit's just absolutely crazy to me. But it was such a big departure from what was expected of the Arctic Monkeys. And I think that was the main focus of that was because Alex Turner, when he went to write the album, he wasn't using guitars as the lead instrument anymore. He was using the piano, something that was more elegant and refined. The guitar itself, while a very powerful instrument, it wasn't working for Alex Turner. So he just said, fuck it, we're chucking that shit right out of here. But overall, I just think that, you know, their follow-up album, Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino, is one of their most underrated pieces of music. There are so many great tracks on that album. Like, I can talk about Star Treatment, we could talk about Ultra Cheese, but people don't really like the album. And it's just like, what? Why? It's so good. But one of my favorite songs on that album is 1 Point Perspective. 1 Point Perspective is just this dive into this fictional rock star's life from the perspective of an actual rock star, from the perspective of Alex Turner. And it talks about the fears and realities that we live in the modern age. When we start 1 Point Perspective, Alex Turner talks about US politics, which seem to have shaped a lot of discussion in 2018. He mentions things like, I'm going to run for government, siding with The Economist, and things like that. All of which is just interesting because of how Trump-era politics was shaping America. Trump did a lot of bad things. He did a lot of things that people didn't appreciate. And it seemed that on a global scale, people really didn't know what was going to happen to the world, and it scared them. And the song just kind of starts off by just joking about it. But then suddenly the song shifts into something that's a lot darker, a lot sadder, when he starts to mention the chimes of freedom falling to bits. He's talking about the destruction of America as we know it, and the concept of America completely falling apart. That's horrifying. That's a nightmarish train of thought to follow. But then he goes back into just forgetting about it, moving on. And now all of a sudden we're somewhere else. We're talking about documentaries, we're talking about films, watching movies like Blade Runner. This little documentary I don't think has a lot to do with talking about the documentary itself, but how he's finding ways to escape this world-ending cataclysmic event. People on the outside, people who are living in the UK, are watching America fall apart. And I know this song takes place back in 2018, but even past that, after Trump-era politics, we're dealing with COVID, we're dealing with war in the Ukraine, it gets worse and worse and worse. So how do you deal with that? And Alex Turner just simply uses movies as a way to escape from it. It's a way to stop thinking solely about politics, because politics consumes so much of our life that you're not really taking a chance to enjoy it. You're not taking a moment to step aside and say, this is a great movie that I've watched. I haven't gone outside to take a walk. Simple things like that Alex Turner is lamenting because politics have consumed every facet of our life. And coming towards the end of the song, Alex Turner takes a very dark and very sad turn with his writing. First we're talking about politics, then we're talking about escapism, but then we're just talking about imposter syndrome. Alex Turner concludes the song saying the lines, or maybe I just imagined it all. I've played to quiet rooms like this before. And so he's just doubting the success that he has as somebody who had created one of the greatest albums of all time. And just like creators like Elvis Presley, he is at the top of his career and it's slowly fading, and he can either choose to live in utter obscurity or he can just keep going. And Alex Turner just leaves us with that positive message, ultimately concluding with him saying, I don't know, I lost my train of thought. With him just looking off, thinking about something different. No longer are these apocalyptic thoughts focused in on his brain, he's gone. And I love just in the live performances how he just turns his head to the side and it's just, there we go. But anyways, that was just a little taste, a little bit of a song review for you.